Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is leverage the experts. When you are flipping houses, there are a lot of moving parts. Many flippers first excel with at-home DIY projects and then ventured into investment properties. If this truly evolves into a business, you need to treat it like one and leverage the experts. Yes, in the beginning, labor costs can come with a high sticker shock. I do pride myself on my own painting skills. In fact, I can cut an edge with the best of them. However, it would take me probably 4 to 5 times as long to paint the interior of a home than it would if I paid a team of experts to do it. Same goes with cleaning. Most of us know how to clean a bathtub, but when you start getting up in age, is that back pain really worth it? All that time I'm wasting cleaning paint rollers or unclogging a sink could go towards money-making tasks. When I'm stuck in bed with sore muscles from spreading 30 bags of mulch, I can't do walkthroughs at prospective new projects. If I'm staging a finished rehab with furniture for my own home at 7 p.m. at night before a listing goes live in the morning, I can't be at that local RIA event meeting my next private money lender. So, if you want to succeed at flipping houses, you must learn to leverage the experts. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. Speaking of experts, we have with us Kelli Garrett. Kelli founded and ran a successful mortgage brokerage company for 9 years, focusing on residential and commercial mortgages. Her company worked with over 50 different lenders and brokered 60 to 70 loans per month. In addition to the mortgage brokerage, Kelli has had a house flipping business, a candy manufacturing company, an appraisal company, multiple convenience stores, a restaurant, a landscaping business, a courier company, and many others. Her latest and greatest endeavors are her money lending business, Rehab Wallet, and coaching program, Clear Vision Coaching. And did I mention, she is a 4-time All-American college basketball player. I have been a super fan since the day I met her, so welcome to the show, Kelli Garrett.
Thank you, Jen. So glad to be here with you.
Your background information was so long. It was so hard to pick the good parts of it because you've done so many amazing things, starting with UPS and just growing different divisions of it. And girl, what have you not done? A candy manufacturing company? What was that?
Yeah, it's crazy how life happens. I mean, you got to remember now, I've been doing this for 22 years now. So it's a lot that can happen in 22 years. So, I flip businesses, and who would have thought that a candy company would come my way? But you just have to let life come as it is. And it came, and the P&L was strong. It was a strong entrepreneur that had it. She was ready to retire as an older lady. And I just loved it. I loved her. I loved how she ran it. I knew that I could scale it bigger. She just was tired. And it was it was just I buy businesses that have a good foundation. And that thing had, just like we buy apartments and houses too, with good foundations. It just had a lot of good bones. And we did that. I think we stayed in that for about 5 years. Started out revenue, about $600,000 in revenue. We built it about $2 million, and then I sold it off. I sold it off to a traditional candy guy that wanted to just take our products. And so it doesn't matter the widget. It just mattered the business plan and the P&L. And so we had fun doing it.
I bet you did. And speaking of good bones, former basketball player, I'm a power forward. What was your position?
Yes, I was a shooting guard. I was one that you post up and yell, Kelli, throw the ball. And then I'll probably be like, no, I'm going to shoot it. But no, yeah, I was a shooting guard. And again, just had a talent, picked one thing, got real good at it. And God blessed me with being able to enable me to have a talent to go off to school. Probably one of my only like family member to ever go off to school, and it got me out of a small town, easily picking South Carolina, and got me off the farm and got me into the real world, really. So I was glad that basketball's been part of my life for a long time.
And you were the leading scorer for your college team?
Yeah, weirdly, I still am. 30-something years later, the College of Charleston, mid-major school here in Charleston, South Carolina. Yep. I give the players a hard time. I like to speak to them and be like, hey, people, get with it. You look at me, not a lot to look at here. You guys got a bigger body, better body than I ever dreamed about having. What are you doing? I just had a lot of passion and a lot of passion toward the sport. And I just loved it. It was my thing. It was my jam for a long time.
I loved playing basketball growing up. I was never a high scorer, but I was probably towards the top for rebounds because no one was getting to that net before me. I'm just saying.
I love it. Listen, we got to have them. We need all. Need all.
So quick funny story about basketball. I played growing up. I did AAU. I did all that fun stuff. And I went to a funeral years later, and my middle school basketball coach was there. And he's like, Jen, you should come play basketball. I'm like, do you see the shape I'm in? And he's like, no, come on. It's great. We have a women's league. So I'm like, all right, I could stand a little exercise. So we go and I joined the women's league in my old hometown, and they didn't have enough women sign up for the league. So they combined us with the high school girls. So I have these 14-year-olds running circles around me on the court. I'm like, what am I doing? And so I hung out mostly with the coach because I've known him for years. But the funniest line ever, we were playing and there is one superstar out there and she's dribbling the ball and, going between her legs and do all this stuff. And I'm sitting on the bench, my favorite place. And my coach goes, pass the ball, Meadowlark. And I burst out laughing. I'm like, that's hilarious. And I look down the bench at the other, the high schoolers, and they're like, Meadowlark? I'm like, okay, I just showed my age. So I thought you would get a kick out of that story.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness. All right. So enough about me. This is all about you. I want to hear about Rehab Wallet. You are a hard money lender, just little old you?
Yeah, well, no, just trust me, it's just not me. We, my job as of the partnership was to build the team. We started in June of 2020, and gosh, we have, you got a process. So I have processor. You have to service the deal or service the loan because you got to deal with the payments coming in. You have to order BPOs and deal with draws. So I have that department. And then you got to deal with the compliance side of it, because what happens if we, some people don't want to make a payment, then you got to go and get all that part in. So my job of the partnership is to build the team out, and that's what we've done. And we've done just a really good job with that. Just hiring. It doesn't matter. Once again, it's widgets. It's what are you selling? Are you selling candy? Are you selling appraisals? Or are you selling dollar bills, really? Just being able to have a business big enough where you can attract good talent. And we've been able to do that. So we have a rock star team. We in 2020, we did our first half year, we did 11 million.
Wow.
Yeah, right at 11 million. Then we did the whole last year of 2021, we did 50 million. Oof. And we'll exceed 100 million this year in funded loans. So that's a lot of business. It's over 500 loans this year only. And so, it's a lot of moving and shaking and paper shuffling, because that's half the battle as far as mortgages. And then you got to originate. So I forgot about my loan originator. I went and plucked her. She worked for me back in my initial mortgage company from 2009. Then she went to work for Wells Fargo. So I went and found her, plucked her away from Wells, and and she's our loan originator with about 20 plus years of experience like myself. So we have a great team. I could not do all that myself, hon. It is a lot of moving parts.
Well, I was joking about you doing it by yourself because I took a peek at your website and I think you only hire good looking people. I want to make that.
I know, right?
I was good looking.
We exactly. We were thinking, I was like, we did all little headshots all together, and I look around like, gracious, everybody's cute,
All right. So a lot of our listeners are just getting into real estate investing, and they need what you provide, which is money. So what do you look for in a real estate investor before you lend them money?
Well, experience is important, especially right now. If you'd asked me 6 months ago, I might say something different, but I'll just tell you what's going on right now. It's August the 25th, 2022. Market has changed a little bit, and we all know that. It's a little softer. So we're not getting 14 everybody's not getting 14 contracts on their deal and it lasting 4 hours. It might last, the days on market might be 24 days instead of 24 hours.
Right.
But it's changed a little bit. So we are only right now lending to experienced borrowers. And that means, just proving that you've done at least two flips in the year. So you would submit to my loan originator 2 HUDs or 2 settlement statements that you've accomplished that task. We feel like if you've done 1 or 2, you've got your feet wet a little bit, to be able to do that. We're more than just a lender. I flipped myself for 18 years. So we started Rehab Wallet through the lens of a flipper. And so we help you along the way as well. That is the main criteria as far as who we're looking for. Now, what I tell people, because I don't like to tell somebody no for anything and like to push somebody off. If you're just getting started today, what I say is to lock arms with somebody like yourself and that has the experience. You might have the deal, the person might have the deal, but Jen might have the experience. And you lock arms with that person and you go do your first deal together so that, gosh, you'll get, number one, you'll get education. Number 2, you'll be able to get money because you can kind of vicariously together through your experience, go ahead and get the money. And then the next, second or third one that you might do, you might be able to come to us with some experience now and say, yeah, I've done 2 now. So I'm ready to lend I'm ready to borrow on my own. So we're your traditional hard money lender. We like a term about 6 months, 6 to 9 months. And to buy the property, rehab the property, and get out. And you will want to get out for private money or hard money because we're just more expensive.
Right.
So approximately 1% a month is what we like to call it. If you're in it for 4 months, you would have paid 4% interest. If it took you a whole year, you would have paid 12% interest. So, our average loan on our books is about right at 5 months now, 4.9 months, almost 5 months. And so they've bought it, rehabbed it, and then they're out of it. So, a Rehab Wallet is you upload your deal. If you want us to look at a deal at rehabwallet.com, click the borrow tab and start filling in the information. We like the South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, Florida's, and that Sun Belt. There's no reason for us to have to go out west. We don't understand that market, don't know that market. But we have plenty of money to invest right in our little Sun Belt area.
Gotcha. And many of the listeners do single family home flips, but I do have some listeners that are getting into commercial. Would you loan on a commercial project?
We would. If we like the deal enough, and if the loan to value is low enough, or we could feel comfortable with that. We have a few in our portfolio. I know those borrowers very well. You know them as well, Jen. They're in our mastermind that we're a part of together. And I got a lot really like the deal. And when it comes over, literally it goes when you input that data at rehabwallet.com, it literally comes to 2 people. One my inbox, and the other is my originator, director of operations. And so I look at it.
I asked that because a lot of these websites for hard money lenders, they only do up to 4 units. So, and then me just getting into commercial real estate, we have a 12 unit under contract and we're getting ready to close on it. But the lending was a different ballpark for us. It was just a totally different game. And so how is lending different for commercial properties?
We like to pride ourselves on the fact that, hitting the easy button, that we'll look at a deal as long as the deal fits our criteria of loan to value. And you have to understand that's important as a lender. Just think about yourselves, put yourself in my shoes. Okay, if I'm going to loan you $100,000, it's important that, it's not in jeopardy. And we think that 70% allows the market to adjust 30% before you get in trouble and before we get in trouble. So we feel certain with that. It really doesn't. And on the commercial side, to me, I wouldn't overcomplicate it.
Okay.
It's really the same thing. As long as you can put 10% down of the purchase price and my loan is equal, my loan amount does not exceed 70%, I'll take a look at it. Perfect. If I like it and we like it, because we have to take a look at it as if, what happens if something happened to you tomorrow? Number one, do you have a team behind you if something did happen, or are you just a solo entrepreneur? That's a little scary for a lender. If I'm going to lend, on a 12 unit, if it's millions of dollars, right? If something happens to you tomorrow, you get sick, what would happen? Number one, do you have a team behind you? Number two, would I like it? Would I like it when I flipped for so long? Would I like it in my portfolio to be able to do something with it?
So, Kelli, my next question is, at Rehab Wallet, you do the fix and flip loans, but you also you offer bridge loans. What is a bridge loan?
A bridge loan would be, I'm going to use this word double close. Some of you guys might be a wholesaler.
Right.
And you might have went direct to the seller. You got the deal. You got the deal on a contract, and that seller says, "We got to close by Wednesday, or you're not going to get the house." Well, that doesn't give you enough time to go, as a wholesaler, go find a flipper, and it doesn't give the flipper enough time to
finance it themselves.
To go finance it, right?
Right.
So the wholesaler uses somebody like us and closes it super fast. That's the thing about a smaller hard money lending company. We're nimble. I can close super fast. I can close in 3 days. I can close in 2 days. I closed something in 12 hours before, but I'm not. It's hard for us now that we've gotten a little bit bigger to do that.
Wow.
But you got to wait on title work too. So really, we say 3 days after we get title work back, we can close this thing. So we bridge that gap. The seller's like, you better close it next Wednesday, or you don't get the contract. So we come in, and then you're going out here trying to find your buyer. We come in and bridge this gap for you. And it might literally be just for a few days. Or I've had wholesalers not want their flippers to see how much money they made.
Right.
So literally we'll close 24 hours. We come in and close for the wholesaler. Then it's off the HUD or the settlement statement, and nobody knows exactly what you paid for it.
Excellent. And thank you for pointing that out, because, double closings, in North Carolina, they're actually trying to stop them. There's coming up with some legislation behind it. I honestly don't care what a wholesaler makes. If I'm making money on my end, I don't care what they're making. I had a wholesaler make $30,000 on a deal, and with the way the market evolved, we made $276,000 on that same deal. I know that, and I'll tell you, it was the timing, and it was one of those things where I was like, we're making what? The market's done what? So it is definitely 100,000 over than what we were expecting. But again, going back to that double closing, people don't be concerned with what the wholesaler is making. Doesn't matter. It's what you're making. So in addition to Rehab Wallet, you have a coaching company called Clear Vision Coaching. Where did that name come from?
We just wanted to be able to, number one, we work off goals. We want all of our students to have goals. We need to have goals our own self, and we need a clear vision in order to how to get to that point. So it kind of just that's kind of where it came from. There's three of us, and it's got a lot of synergy with my business. So usually if I'm doing two businesses at the same time like that, they both have a lot of synergy, right? I have a lending company. Most of the students use Rehab Wallet. Some of my rehab borrowers might need coaching. So there's three coaches, myself, Dusty Keefe, and Russ Scheider, and we all are very different, and that's the beauty of it all. And we're local to Charleston, but we do have a few that's outside of our area, a few students out of Mississippi. But yeah, and we're able to coach the very new people just starting out that don't even understand what LTV means.
Right. Loan to value, PS.
Right. And so, and then we have the intermediate person that maybe has 10, 12 units and just kind of, flipping one or two deals a year or 3 or 4 deals a year. They're intermediate. They understand the X's and O's, but just need a little bit more of a hand holding. And last but not least, we have elite people. And so we coach them all very differently. And I think that's been the best part of this, because it kind of fits all angles. And we've just helped a lot of people, and it's weird being now the person that coaches. After this long, I have more experience. It's my time to give back. Do we make a ton of money at coaching? I'm gonna tell you no.
Right.
But it actually it's number one, it's rewarding. Number two, it has synergy with my other businesses, and we all do deals together too. That's so they awesome. Might need, those new people coming in might need that person to lock arms with, like I was talking about. And it might be one of us to help them and get started. We'll split the deal.
Well, I'm going back to the name of the company, which is Clear Vision, because I saw you on social media the other day talking about something that you do daily with your little notepad. So what do you do daily?
I write my goals down daily. I write them down every morning. It's just like a very ritual thing that I do.
Is it the same goal every day?
It's the same 5 things every day.
Okay. And
so, because I'm not done with 2022 and I haven't maximized my goals yet. So I write down, like I told you before, I'll write the words down, 100 billion at Rehab Wallet by 12/31/2022. And so we hadn't gotten there yet. We still got 4 or 5 more months left. So we'll plan on it. We're set up to do it. But that's a goal that I want to see happen by the end of 2022. So not only is it financial, weirdly, I just had a hip replacement 13 days ago.
Really?
Yes. And so all this basketball stuff and times of my life, it's wore out. And so I went ahead at a younger age than most and got it replaced. And so one of my goals is that, that my hip is stable, and I have a date that I want my hip to be in good shape, that I can get back out and do the exercises and things that I'm used to doing on a daily basis. I give it a month. So I gave it to September the 9th, because that'll be 1 month. And then I have a 3-month goal after that to be able to be doing, there's women that play ball. We play ball every Wednesday morning at 9:30. And I haven't been able to play in the last 6 months. And so, or really 4 months. And so I want to be back out there playing in 3 months. And so I write that goal down because I want that to happen. And, I was just actually, that's a Grant Cardone thing that I learned probably 5 years ago. And, I go deep with 2 or 3 people. I don't go deep, meaning watch a bunch of people. But I went deep with him because you either like him or you don't like him, but I like his hard work ethic. And so, yeah, that was a game changer for me in 2019. Wow. Late 2018, it was a game changer for me. I don't know how it works psychologically and woo-woo-ness. I don't know about what that means. But all I know is it's been a game changer for me.
Well, 10X is a great book to read if you haven't read that yet. For the listeners, Amen. Definitely want to check that out. And, having that clear vision is so important. And a lot of people do SMART goals, for example. So Vance and I, at the end of every year, we write out our SMART goals. And for the first couple of years of our business, we wrote the SMART goals, and like the next time we actually looked at them was the following year when we were getting ready to write our new SMART goals. So by writing them out daily is huge. By getting accountability partners, people who you share goals or you share your goals with, writing them down raises the percentage, but then telling people about it just raises it even more. So I really enjoy watching you on social media. And by the way, whenever you like my stuff, I'm like, oh, Kelli Garrett liked my post. Oh my gosh, Kelli Garrett.
You putting good stuff out. I'm going to like it if it's good.
Well, thank you.
I love your style.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. So I asked you for a couple bullet points, and there's one here that really stands out to me. And you say that talent is overrated. What does that mean?
I've studied a lot about this, and I truthfully feel about it that talent is. Let's go back to the scenario you asked me about the leading scorer at the College of Charleston. I mean, I'll tell you my age. I finished college at 1989, and I still and we only had 2 years of a 3-point line. But there's been hundreds more talented players come through there. Hundreds. I see them every year. I'm still very involved in the program. It was good to me, and I try to get back whenever I can. And I talk to them, and I see them up close. Extremely talented, long arms, big hands, long, lean bodies, 6'2", 6'4". I'm a 5'10". White girl with no jumps. It goes deep, and so talent's overrated. I just feel that way. You better have passion and hard work. I mean, I followed Kobe when he was alive. I believe in his Mamba mentality. He says it too. He was in the gym way before anybody else. I was in the gym way before anybody else. Loved it. It's passion. It got me there. And business too. Who's going to write their goals down every single day? It's a passion. I look forward to it. It's not just that, but it's also, just what you love. So if you really love it, passion and I think in structure and hard work can take you a lot further than talent, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I agree. And I'm a former musician. I taught music for 16 years at the middle school level. And there are so many talented kids, but they didn't have that action behind it. They didn't know how to push it further. So absolutely, it is. Talent can be overrated. Thank you for sharing that. And you're so good at sharing things. You heard me do a badassery bestowment at the beginning. Do you have a badassery bestowment you can share with the audience? Maybe a little short piece of advice?
I would say that it's just as easy to run. And let's talk about business stuff, right? It doesn't matter if it's a real estate business. It doesn't matter if it's a brick and mortar business, if it's
a candy manufacturer,
candy manufacturer, a hair salon. It does not matter. What matters is that it's big enough that you can attract the 9 out of 9s and the 10 out of 10s and employees and talent. And again, we're going back to that word talent again. But what I mean is really just that you're looking for that on a daily basis. And those people don't want to come to work for just anybody.
Right.
You want a business. It's just as easy to run a $10 million business as it is to run a $100,000 business.
Mm-hmm.
Same frustrations, same QuickBooks, same accounts payable, accounts receivable. It's the same. But when you have a big enough business, you can attract the talent to come work for you to handle a lot of that are better, smarter, more elite than you are. But you can then work on the business instead of in the business on a daily basis. So that's one of my biggest things. I didn't start out like that. I've just learned this by being in the right rooms, by being around people, by listening and trying to educate myself. Because I had the small little companies that I started, and then we just moved and graduated in, and it's the truth. It's just the truth. I can't recruit educated and talented people to come work for me when I'm only can pay them, not pay them that much. And also they're not challenged and they're not even impressed. But when you're building a big enough business, it attracts bigger and better talent to come work for you.
Well, I love that you say it's just as easy to run a $10 million company as it is to run a $100 million company. And you had mentioned that you and I are in the same mastermind. So shout out to Tim Bratz and the Legacy family. And
Yes.
when you invest in yourself and surround yourself, you're paying for proximity, as Tim said on the podcast where I interviewed him. And I think that's so important because it's led me to people like you to inspire me to see that a $10 million company runs the same way as a $100 million company. So Kelli, I am truly grateful to you and what you bring to the table for me, and you inspire me, even if you're a badass basketball player as well. So the second, thank you. And the second half of the podcast is what makes Kelli Garrett a badass, which you are. And I use the acronym BADASS, and the first letter is B for book. What's a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
And I'm staying on the sports thing, so I'm sorry for senior listeners that's not very sports minded, but the book Winning by Tim Grover. So regardless, though, if you're into sports or if you're not into sports, it's irrelevant. But he was Michael Jordan and Kobe's individual coach.
Really?
Trainer, if you will. Not from the Bulls and not from the Lakers, but an individual trainer that went with him at every game. And he wrote the book Relentless, and he wrote the book Winning. And that's his most recent book. And I have to say, I have read that book so many different times because it gives a formula for winning, whether you're in sports or business. And it just talks about little things. And I wrote them down, like winning never lies. Winning never knows your secrets. Winning wages a war on your mind. Winning wants all of you. And if you don't embrace it, winning will go find someone else to attack you.
That is good.
And really just very few people want to really understand that. I wanted to understand that, because I have that thought process, and I never understood, why it's constantly, as you do, as other people do. We have this thing, and it's like just in our minds constantly, like, we got to do more. We got to do better. Okay, I said I was going to walk those steps. I need to go walk those steps today. I get out of my bed to go walk those steps because I said I was going to walk those steps today. It's weird. It's like your brain is a different brain and nobody else can understand it. But that book helps you understand that you're not crazy. And that either you embrace that and your family and your partner embraces it with you and understands your craziness, because it's a thing and it's just attached to you because you're a winner. And it kind of just, again, gave you that formula to make you understand that you're not crazy. Other people feel the same way.
Well, I love books. I have not even heard of this one, so I'm going to have to check it out. I normally go straight to the business section, so I will definitely look at that one. Thank you for that. All right, The first A in badass is advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I go back to my dad told me, and it probably was because he just didn't want to run us all around to go do different sports or to go different. My sister, like yourself, was big into music. So he told us to choose one thing and get really good at it. You're not going to play softball. You're not going to run track. You're not going to play basketball. Pick one of them, get real good at it. My sister, choir or basketball, choir or sports. Pick one, Keela. That's her second name. She's a school teacher as well, Jen. Middle school as well. In South Carolina. And so, so she chose choir and piano and got good at it. My brother is a golf pro. He chose golf. He got good at it. And so I don't know, again, if they just didn't want to run us around town because they didn't want to run us around to 3 different sports. But he tells me to do that. And so I took that into business as well. And while it seems as if we might do different things, candy company, appraisal company, real estate, to me, it's all the same because all those companies had real estate as well. I've just chosen to really latch on to a real estate and being an entrepreneur and just try to be the best version I can of that. Instead of, I worked at corporate America right after college. I worked at UPS for 12 years. And before I became my self-employed entrepreneur. But other than that, that's all I've done now since, for the last 30 something years is really I worked at UPS and I've been self-employed entrepreneur. And I've just tried to get the best I could be at the time that I could possibly be.
Did you wear the brown uniform?
Oh yeah. Everybody does.
I bet everybody you rocked that brown uniform, girl.
it definitely fit my nature. UPS is 100% effective is not good enough at UPS. You ran 125%. But I rocked that as a loader. And then, I loaded and then I drove for about 2 years and then I went management my last 10 years. And so I was managing a bunch of other people in brown uniform.
Well, I used to work in the insurance industry and I remember UPS really took great care of their employees. So I do have a lot of respect for that company.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Expect a lot, but pays well.
Yes, there you go. All right. So the D in badass is drive. What drives you to be successful?
It kind of just went back to what I had said earlier. I don't have a sob story about how I grew up. I grew up on a small farm, a lot of love, but plenty of, I'm not going to say we're poor or rich. We're middle class. My family's amazing. My siblings are amazing. My upbringing was amazing. And so what it did for me, though, is create a lot of discipline. My dad was very, very, very disciplined and very structured. And I grew up in a faith-based home. And so there was a lot of that growing up. And so I think that just kind of came in and I absorbed all that. And I'm very structured to this day. And so, what I have, I don't even know. My why, I've really, I know you probably have asked this a lot, like to different people, and I have to different people, like, what's your why? Like, why are you doing this? And we don't have children. So a lot of people say, well, it's because I have my children. I want to leave a legacy then. So, and I've just kind of settled in on this. And I know it sounds vague, but I've just figured this out probably about 5 years ago. And it's literally to be the best version of Kelli Garrett that I could possibly be. It's vague, but it works for me. That it does. I'm not going to compete with somebody that wants to be a billionaire. I'm not going to be a billionaire, but I'm going to be, I'm going to give it everything that I got. I played at a mid-major college and I scored a lot of points at a mid-major college. I didn't go to a Big Ten, an SEC school. I don't know what I would have done there, but I can score a lot of points and do real well in business in my little niche of this mid-major world. And I'm happy there as long as I find this peace and it's enough for me to be challenged. That's kind of where I find myself. So, it really just what drives me to be successful. I would just say I have it internally. I don't know where it came from. It probably came as a child, but I have a huge drive internally, and I'm very, very, very thankful in the mornings as a 54-year-old woman now that I wake up with a lot of energy. And you probably nobody could keep up with me when I was in my 20s. And I could see it coming down some, but I still have a lot of energy. Without drinking, without a lot of drinking and without a lot of no drugs, no vitamin, I just have a lot of energy and I'm very, very blessed and very thankful for that.
Well, I'm very thankful to know the best version of Kelli Garrett as well. So you shine, young lady, and thank you for that. All right. The second A in badass is aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on?
Well, I've said it a few times. I am working on that financial goal for my business. It's been a reach. It's 100% increase from last year. And that's 100 million. It sounds like a big number, and it is a big number at our lending company. And that's a stretch, and we're working for it, and we'll hit it because I write it down on my goals. So we will hit it. And my personal goal is that I'm married. And she and I have been married since 2017, but we've been together for 21 years.
Goodness.
And yeah. And so I have to do a better job of just noticing the little things that she does so many big things for us in our business. I mean, she's the one that keeps it all together. I'm the big think, going and networking and doing all these things, getting these deals and getting this and this and this. And then she reads like if a contract comes over, I'm like, read that. Tell me what it said. I don't have the patience to do that. And she's super smart with, degrees out the yin yang. She just is super smart. She just kept us all together. She says that she would have never bought one deal because she's risk averse. And I would have bought every deal in the county if it wasn't for her. So we kind of yin and yang a little bit. But I need to do a better job of just recognizing some things that she does. And I've chosen to do this. And one of the things I chose to do, and I did it every day, 365 days of last year, was I wrote one thing that I noticed. And the book was called Today I Noticed You.
Oh.
And every day I wrote, and it could be maybe something she had on. Maybe it was that whatever, little bitty things. To a big thing, but I wrote 365 days and I gave it to her for Christmas. And
oh my goodness,
she sobbed. And it's literally, the book is in a 3-ring bind, like a binder with a Sharpie on the front of it that says, Today I Noticed You. And so I needed to do that to make myself notice her more. And it's working, but I write that in my goals too. So that's one of the 5 things. And the personal goal is, being a little vulnerable here, is that I need to do a better job of that. And that's how I work, and that's how that it's working. So, or ask her how it's working next time you see her.
Well, I was just going to say, I've had the pleasure of meeting Sunshine, and she is just an amazing person. And you two do totally balance each other so well. And I love seeing you guys together. And, I'm a big advocate as well. You know that.
Yes, you are. And
yes.
I didn't know that until I saw some stuff. I got to know you a little bit better on Facebook as well. And while I appreciate that, I did say that we only been married since 17. That's because we couldn't get married.
Right.
In South Carolina, praise the Lord, agreed to let us get married. And that could be a complete different show, but we're good for each other. And for whatever, if you approve of it or not is irrelevant. My life, I'm trying to be the best version of Kelli, and she helps me do that.
Yes, she does. Well, I love that. I love the two of you together. And yes, I think that is lovely.
Thank you, Jen.
All right. The first S in badass is systems. What systems do you have in place to help you achieve success?
Besides writing my goals down every day, it will be a simple spreadsheet that I literally, on the left-hand side, I have every deal that I'm in, and it could be as big as a joint venture with Tim Brotts on a 200 unit in Georgia, to maybe I've lent out a second mortgage and I'm doing some private lending besides Rehab Wallet that didn't fit Rehab Wallet's parameters, and I've chose to do that on the side. I have a lot of lease to purchase deals that I did 15 years ago. All the limited partnerships that I'm in, each deal is listed. And then that's on the left-hand side. On the top column is January, February, March, all the months of the year. And I track them monthly. I have an assistant that if my limited partnership on a deal brings me $1,000 in January as a limited partner, as a preferred return, I type in $1,000, or she types it in. And so I track that monthly so that I can say, okay, I have my goal of 100 million for Rehab Wallet, but I also have a personal goal for me, because I don't just do Rehab Wallet. I have different divisions in my business. So I have a personal goal monthly that I want to make, right, on financially. So I need to know what's going on in January, February, March, because I need to know if I'm on track before the end of the year, I'm not surprised. So it's a big tracking thing that I do. It's not big. It's not complicated. It's a freaking Excel spreadsheet. And, but I look at it and I go over it with my lead person I have a COO, and we go over that monthly, and she's actually bonused if we're hitting those or not. And so
nice.
It's just a tracking thing. So I would say that's the two systems I do best. And I make sure, at dinner one night, I call it it's my Garrett Ventures group, because that's the name of my main company sheet. And I bring it up to Sunshine and we go through it. I want her to see where we're at. She don't have to be involved in everything, but she wants to know how we're doing toward our goals. And I make sure that I bring it up to her and let her see it as well.
That is so huge. And I really need to start doing something of the sort, because your finances, when you have projects going on, and I mean, money flies out of the account so fast. And so, knowing what you're making, what you're bringing in, like I fly by the seat of my pants. Yes.
It's as an entrepreneur, it's lonely.
Yes.
Nobody's over there saying, Jen, well done. You're good and felt your servant. Nobody's like tapping you on the back and saying, good job. But you can do it yourself with your sheet and be like, okay, good God, you flipped that property, made $276,000. You kidding me?
267.
267. Okay. So what month was that in?
That what we closed June.
Okay. So in June, you blew it out of the water.
Yes.
Right? If your goal was...
And then in May, I didn't have two dimes to rub together.
Okay. That's welcome to the entrepreneur world, yeah. Right? But you can go back and look, and then you can do your average. Okay. That June helped your average. If you're wanting to average $83,333 a month is $1 million a year. 83,333 is $1 million a year. So if you're wanting to average 83,333 a month, June helped that number.
Yep.
May might not have, but if you're tracking it and it's like, okay, I'm making it. I'm making that. I'm making $83,333 a month. And it's like, sometimes people don't even know. That's what when I coach my coaching students, I'm like, we got to track it.
Yeah.
We got to track it. We got to be able to say, good job. You're making this monthly numbers. And so, whether it's just a way that you can kind of see how you're doing. P&Ls are P&Ls. Okay. They kind of just get they just get complicated at times, but a good little spreadsheet is clean. It has all your properties you're flipping over here on your left-hand side. And then it'll only have 1 month where you make that, but that's okay.
Right.
You're able to see it on a monthly basis.
Well, I love it. I'm definitely going to need to start tracking all my stuff. So thank you for sharing that. To wrap this up, the final S in badass is success. What does success mean to Kelli Garrett?
I've said it earlier. It literally is just inner peace. It's not a number. It's not a financial number. It maybe just be that best version of Kelli Garrett that I could possibly be. And then that's inner peace. When you're there, it might be, we're always going to strive for a little bit more pounds off right before summertime, right? We're going to try to knock off those last 5 pounds, or we'll be a little bit more leaner. We're going to whatever you want to do, or make so much money. And the money part of it is irrelevant. It does not bring inner peace at all. It's how are you doing in your relationship? How you doing in your faith? How you doing in whatever you're doing? So I just think it's inner peace. And it sounds vague, but that's the way I feel. And that's how I define it.
Well, I appreciate you so much for being here on the show, and you are fantastic. How do the listeners find you?
I'm simple on Facebook. It's Kelli with an I. So it's Kelli, Kelli Garrett. On Instagram, it's Kelli.Garrett2. And I'm on LinkedIn because, again, I'm always talking business and that kind of thing. I like LinkedIn as much. And my website is GarrettVenturesGroup.com. And, of course, RehabWallet.com. So, that's how you can find me.
Well, listeners, you now have a new source of where to find money, where to find coaching, you can see why I am such a huge fan of Kelli. And Kelli, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Jen, thank you for having me.
Well,
appreciate everything you're doing.
I appreciate you, and I truly, truly thank you. And that is all. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.